my memory was jogged to remember that my sort of writing career in a way started in a college, much like this, back in Miami, in Miami-Dade Community College. And when I was first became curious about poetry, and I was already an engineer and working full-time as an engineer, and I knew there was more that I wanted to do. And just to sort of get my feet wet, I signed up at a couple creative writing classes at a college, Miami-Dade Community College. And it was there that really gave me the strength and the sort of confidence to go on and to write poems, because I really didn't have much of a portfolio by then, to then be able to go on to graduate school and, well, eventually do what happened in January. But as I like to say, I was made in Cuba, assembled in Spain, and imported to the United States, which meant that my mother was 7 months pregnant. She left Cuba pregnant with me. Never quite understood how to make that sentence correct, but was born in Spain, and 45 days later we emigrated to New York City and eventually Miami. So by the time I was 45 days old, you can imagine I belonged to 3 countries, figuratively and sometimes literally. And I had lived in 2 major capitals of the world. My baby picture, my very first newborn picture, is my picture on my green card, which I still have. So Cubans never got Thanksgiving. They call it, as my mother calls it, San Giving, as in San Jose or San Ignacio. It's a whole different kind of feast day. We don't really get that tradition. Secondly, for Cubans, pork is not the other white meat. It's the only meat. So, a week before Thanksgiving, I explained to my abuelita about the Indians and the Mayflower, how Lincoln set the slaves free. I explained to my parents about the Purple Mountain's majesty, one-if by land, two-if by sea, the cherry tree, the tea party, the amber waves of grain, the masses yearning to be free, liberty and justice for all, until finally they agreed this Thanksgiving we would have turkey, as well as pork. Abuelita prepared the pork. It's called Betting on America. My grandmother was the bookie. Set up at the kitchen table that night, her hair in curlers, pencil and pad, jotting down $2 bets, paying 5 to 1 on which miss would take the crown that year. I dug up enough change from the sofa and car seats to bet on Miss Wisconsin, thinking I was as American as she because I was as blonde as she was. And I knew that's where all the cheese came from. And that wasn't all. All the chocolate was from Miss Pennsylvania. The capital of Miss Montana was Helena. Mount Rushmore was in Miss South Dakota. And I knew how to say Miss Connecticut. Unlike my tia Gloria, who just pointed at the TV. Esa, that one, claiming she had her same figure before leaving Cuba. Papa refused to bet on any of the misses because Americanos all have skinny butts, he complained. There's nothing like a big culo cubano. Funny how that doesn't need translation, right? And everyone agreed. Evita. Except for me and my little cousin Julito, who apparently was a breast man at age 5, reaching for Miss Alabama's breasts on the screen, the leggy mulata sachet and pumps and swimsuit, that one landscape, that one memory that you just don't want to be messed with. And some of us are lucky enough to visit those places, and some of them are still intact, but for the most part, we all have that sense of loss that I think is a common human denominator. Looking for the Gulf Motel, Marco Island, Florida. There should be nothing here. I don't remember. The Gulf Motel with mermaid lampposts and ship's wheel in the lobby should still be rising out of the sand like a cake decoration. My brother and I should still be pretending we don't know our parents, embarrassing us as they roll the luggage cart past the front desk, loaded with our scruffy suitcases, 24 loaves of Cuban bread, brown bags bulging with enough mangoes to last the entire week, our espresso pot, the pressure cooker, and a pork roast reeking garlic through the entire lobby. All because, mijo, we can't afford to eat out. Not even on vacation, only 2 hours from our home in Miami, but far enough away to be thrilled by the whiter sands on the west coast of Florida, where I should still be for the first time watching the sun set instead of rise over the ocean. There should be nothing here I don't remember. My brother and I should still be playing parcheesi. My father should still be alive, slow dancing with my mother on the sliding glass balcony of the Gulf Motel. No music. No music. Only the waves keeping time. A song only their minds hear 10,000 nights back to their life in Cuba. But I'm not. I'm 38, driving up Collier Boulevard, looking for the Gulf Motel, for everything that should still be, but isn't. I want to blame the condos and their shadows for ruining the beach in my past. I want to chase the snowbirds away with their tacky McMansions and yachts. I want to turn the golf courses back into mangroves. I want to find the Gulf Motel exactly as it was, and pretend for just a moment that nothing I've lost is lost. Stay out of her Tupperware parties and perfume bottles. Don't let her kiss you. She kisses you much too much. Avoid hugging men, but if you must, pat them real hard on the back, even if it's your father. Must you keep that cat? Don't pet him so much. Ay, mijo, why don't you like dogs? Never play house, even if you're the husband. Quit hanging out with that Henry kid. He's just too pale. And I don't care what you call them, those G.I. Joes of his are dolls. Don't draw rainbows or flowers or sunsets. I've seen you. So I'm sitting there on the stage with my mother, and this is somewhat of what's happening emotionally. In that moment, I feel America standing as one, putting differences aside and taking a deep collective breath. We pay tribute to something far bigger and more important than any one of us, though I truly feel I am one of us, one of we, the people, in the echoes of Obama's and others' speeches. I embrace America in a way I never had, feeling for the first time that I belong, truly belong, to one country. Not an imaginary ideal from TV or a nostalgic island floating in the sea of my parents' memories, but a real, tangible place that is mine, was mine all along. I turn to my mother and whisper, "Mama, I think we're finally Americanos." Indeed, I realize it was always one story I was born into, one story for me to discover and claim, one story to make my own. At that moment, I understand one today as a gift to America. Senator Schumer introduces me and calls me up to the podium. My mother squeezes my shoulder. I stand more confident than I imagined I could or would be, transfixed by the moment which is no longer about me or my poem or my glory, but about our America. One sun rose on us today, kindled over our shores, peeking over the Smokies, greeting the faces of the Great Lakes, spreading a simple truth across the Great Plains, then charging over the Rockies. Of one country, all of us facing the stars, and hope, a new constellation, waiting for us to map it, waiting for us to name it together.